Everybody has the same opportunity. We got to help each other. We got to pull on each other. We got to push each other. We got to challenge each other. Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. We have two absolute killers on with us today. My name is Bowen Sweeney. I'm your host, sitting here with
Camino
and
Michael Mulea.
So two guys that have been through a lot in this business. One guy that's been in business with me for 2 years, and Diego's been with us for about 4 months, who is just really fast tracking the learning curve. I remember when I got started in the business, there wasn't really many people hot out the gate like you are. And it's incredible for me and Mike to be able to witness it. It's awesome. I feel that's what the business is about is, hey, it took us this long to be able to get good and this long to be able to get results. And I feel that was Mike's focus with you guys is how do we fast track it? So before we dive into just some things that you guys are focusing on to be able to have success in sales, just give us a little background, Mike. We'll start with you. What were you doing prior to this? What was your journey so far the last 2 years? And then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So not many people know, but when I came into the business, I was completely broke. I had $800 to my name. I was just out of my solar venture. I was a regional manager for a little while there. Kind of swung into pretty deep depression and started looking internally for an answer on what I was going to do next. You had been reaching out to me that entire time when I was in solar, and I was always like, no, like I'm good. But during that period where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I was like, you know what? Like, I remember you reached out to me. Let me get on a phone call with him. You told me you're just like, send it out to Arizona, send it out to Miami. And I was like, dude, that's not realistic for me right now. I'm like, I got $800 to my name. There's no way I can make that happen. But we got in the study material. We started ripping. As soon as I got my license back, I wasn't somebody that like immediately locked in. I got up late. I was like 12 p.m. I'd hop on, and I was working with Kev at the time, and Kev was like, dude, I'm not helping you out with leads. Like, get up early and get on time, or like, you're not going to get nothing from me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, whatever. All right. Like, we'll see if this works. So I threw my last $800. I sold 2 policies. They charged back, but I had the $2,000 to be able to reinvest into the business. Yeah. So I made it work. I invested that $2,000. I sat at my little kitchen table, and yeah, man, I mean, I sold like $7,000 the next week, paid off my chargebacks, made $4,000, and then flew out to Arizona for my first lock-in, which was also kind of crazy, but definitely set the tone for my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. We were dialing a bunch of age leads. It wasn't $300-400 dial days. It was 1,000-1,200 dial days, and it was 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. dialing Hawaii to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
It wasn't something where there was like a perfect system in place, like where we had amazing retention, and like it was a simple, smooth process. It was something we had to figure out and dial in so that people like Diego could come in and really take advantage of the system and excel quickly.
That's sick, dude. Yeah. I remember when you're like, all right, I'm moving to Arizona. And you told me, I think he called me. You're like, dude, there's water in my car. I was like, what the hell does that even mean? There's water in your car. You're like, yeah, my car is full of water. I was like, all right, get a bucket and dump it out and drive on out here. I was like, give it hell. But it's cool to see the journey. So we'll dive back into it. Diego, if you want to talk about what were you doing before this? Obviously, you've been in the business for 4 months, and just looking at the results and just the thought process, the leaders that you're developing in the business, it's incredible. Like, you guys are passing people that have been in the business for 2-3 years, and they never quite figure it out. So what were you doing prior? How did you get into it? And then just kind of share about your journey a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Bone. Well, backtrack on my story. I was over at ASU in college. I was studying finance, and I mean, college wasn't like too hard. I was doing well. It was never like an issue. I was always working. After about 3 years, and I was on my junior year, I was pretty broke. I was trying out a few different jobs to have a better resume because I was always serving. I was like, okay, let's get some more of my resume. And I was like, what am I doing this all for? Like, okay, I'm I'm trying to get this finance degree, but I don't even want to like go into finance specifically. I want to go into real estate. So I don't need my degree for that. And I don't really know too much other than some classes I've learned like accounting and whatnot. And so that summer, it was summer of 2023. I was pretty broke. I started a window washing company for 3 weeks. It was me and my buddy, but my buddy didn't want to door knock, so I paid him as a cleaner with me, and I door knocked. I made about 2 to 3 grand or so, and because I was backed up on rent, and so I used that to pay rent. And then a bunch of my buddies were in car sales, so I was like, you know what, dude, I'm just so broke right now. Like, why not just try? Like, I don't know what I'm getting my degree for, so I don't have a purpose behind it. Everyone was like, yo, just finish. I'm like, what do you mean just then what? I'm gonna be in the same position just with a degree, just like a high school diploma. Like, it wasn't putting me anywhere specific. So then August of 2023, I went into car sales, and I'd moved in with my one of my best friends. His name's Charles. He's on my team. And I borrowed 2 grand from him. I was 2 grand in debt with him, lived at his mom's house. Him and I were living at his mom's house. His parents weren't there. And so I started in car sales. So that was my 90-day learning curve that people talk about here. That was me in a different industry because I was broke, I was in debt, and I had to figure it out at that point. So that was like my start of, okay, well, why would I not be at work? If I'm not at work, I'm doing dumb stuff. So I'm going to work every single day because I at least need the hourly to pay back my debt and then any other stuff I owed. So we're in the car business. It was me. There were 6 of our best friends there as well. Everyone was crushing. My first 90 days, that was my like crap period. I didn't know sales. I was good at talking to people. It's great to talk to people, but there's a totally different side when you're actually like going through the psychology of sales versus being like an order taker and just like someone buying something off of you. And I sold maybe like 5 cars in my first 3 months. It was October 20th. I remember this. I was given 10 more days at the dealership. I had sold 1 car that month. There's 5 other guys that were fired. And my manager said, hey, because you're friends with them, I'll give you 10 more days. But if 3 months isn't long enough for you to figure out how to sell cars, like this isn't for you. Kind of.
So they gave you a little ultimatum.
Exactly. And
I remember you telling me that when you came in.
yeah. And the one car I sold, someone else actually sold it for me. So I didn't even sell it. So I hadn't sold anything myself. And whatever clicked, I don't think it was just him telling me that because I didn't do anything different. It was just everything I'd done for that like 80 days or so. It was exactly 80, 85 days. I've been at work every single day, Monday through Sunday. Every Sunday. Dealerships are like open for the most part. So I was there every single day, at least collecting hourly. And in that last 10 days, I sold like 11 cars. And so that like projected me. And then every month after that, I was at the top of the leaderboard, like all my best friends. And we were at a brand new dealership. So that was another tough part. But anyhow, because of that period, that was like my 90-day broke period, figuring it out. And then 8 months later, I got promoted and passed a bunch of people up for like a sales manager role. And going through that, that was my blueprint and outline of how do I go into somewhere. Prove, like I have my proof, my file of confidence of like, okay, I went in somewhere and knew nothing, failed, almost lost the opportunity, but then figured it out and then absolutely projected from there. So now coming into this industry, I came in with a team. It was all of my best friends and they were killing it in the car industry too. Some a little bit above me, some a little bit like below me as like sales reps and whatnot. So we all came in together. I didn't convince them to do anything. I just said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. But backtracking to how I got into the industry, we were so like focused on like the dealership, like, all right, move up, own our own dealership, open up a different part. But it's like we were in our own small little prison. Like we weren't opening up a little shop for our own business to grow and expand. It was somebody else's. So we were always going to be trapped there with someone saying that they could fire us at any point if we messed up, essentially. So I remember April of 2025, this past April, towards the end, Mike randomly DM'd me, got into a conversation. And I was like, no, man, like I'm about to get moved up to finance. Finance makes 25 to 30 grand a month. Plus, like I'll do that. I want to buy a house. And then once I have, I think I said like maybe $100,000 in the bank, like, and I have a house, like maybe I'll look into a different industry.
It's like 150.
Yeah. Yeah, 150. And I was about to get moved up. I was making like 15 grand a month at the dealership. And then I remember like 7 or 8 days went by. And it was like my vision was on a 10-year plan doing this one thing. And then within 6 days, everything we talked about like opened me up to like, holy smokes, like there is better out there. We were told it doesn't get better than this. There's nothing else better than this. Like I'm telling you, this is the best of the best out of every sales industry. And that's true for the people that were there and above us, that was the best of the best for them. They, between their records and their past life and them having families, that was the best it was going to get for them. It was too risky for them to try to do anything else. So that was true, but it wasn't true for us. And they were trying to put that truth onto us. And I remember beginning of May, I was like, you know what, screw it, like I'll get my course. So I think I got my course within the first week of May. And then every day that I went to work, I felt like claustrophobic. I was like, I need to get out of here like right now. It went from I will be here for 10 years, I don't care, I want to make money, to I need to get out as fast. It was a weird feeling, and you can't tell somebody to have that feeling. They just feel it themselves once they're opened up to something that could suit them better. And so I did as much as I could to pass the test. And then once I passed the test, my other guys got their tests as well, and they passed.
Quick highlight. You went through the testing period in 2 weeks while working 12, 13-hour days, 6 days a week. You did whatever it took to be able to get your license, to put yourself in a better
I
situation.
studied for 2 actual days.
Let's
I
go,
had the
dude.
day off of work the day before the test, and then I had the test the next day night. So it was like that 12 hours and then like 8 hours the next day that I had to study. So I really didn't study much before that. So not that the test is easy, but like, and when I was testing, I cannot describe the feeling. I was on the edge of my couch. Every question I got wrong felt like, if I don't pass this test, I'm screwed. If I don't pass this test, I'm screwed.
Life or
Like,
death.
it felt like I was gonna go back to jail if I didn't pass the test. So like I was just on the edge of my couch. I didn't really eat. I didn't really drink any water or anything like that. Like I was just there like, yo, if I don't pass this test tomorrow, I am screwed. And I don't know. Now obviously I have multiple tries for it, but I didn't think that it was like I get one shot. Like I need to pass this because I can't go back there. I can't stand being there. Pass the test. It was end of May. And respectfully to the dealership, because they did so much for me, I was like, hey, I'm not going to quit on the spot. Like, here's my plan. I'll give you guys however long you need help for, because that was a big part of their growth. And I didn't want to just up and leave, and I wanted to give them that respect. And so I stayed an extra like week or so. And then I told them I was going to leave on a day, but then a couple of days before that, I was like, okay, like I can't,
You
be
can't do it anymore.
So, middle of June, then we switched over, and then that was that. So all of us came on at around the same time, and I can't take credit for my guys because we all came over together. Mike trained all of our guys. Where Mike really showed his true colors was our setup. He trained me and my guys as if they were all his directs, but he was like, hey, it'd be much better for me if I put all you guys direct to me, but it actually suits your guys' business better if you guys set it up this way. I'm gonna make a lot less money, but I don't care about that. Like, I'm just trying to help you guys grow, because I know long term that your growth will then be my growth. So we all grew together, and everyone individually, like we all went through that 90-day, 6-month period in like an industry beforehand. So that's why we skyrocketed. Was if I came in fresh out of college, I would have gone through that broke period, that 90 days of almost no sales, trying to figure out the psychology of the sale, the scripts, and all of that. I would have gone through that in insurance. So that's where it's tough when people in insurance see other guys coming and killing it, and they're like, why am I not killing it? It's like, well, ask them, like, what did they do beforehand? Oh, they went through that exact time, but they just did it already. Like, everyone has to go through that. No one just comes in for the most part and kills it. People in sports, they went through that already, and they just put into a different industry. So like, where people don't understand, it's like, hey, I need to learn these character traits of consistency, putting in the work, and just learning in general and being humble. If you haven't done it before, well, you're gonna have to do it now. So that's why people like Landon and guys that were doing football players in Jackson come in and kill it, because they went through that phase a long time ago. They've already done it. They know what it takes to go into something, not know anything, and try to be the best of the best at it.
100%. And I feel that's where, so just to backtrack a little bit, like when people are making 15, 20, 30 grand a month, it's like your first introduction to, I'm making good money. Like, I can pay bills, I can put some money in savings, I can travel a little bit, like I can drive a nice car. But that's where I feel a lot of good people get stuck. Like, some of the best entrepreneurs are stuck making 15, 20 grand a month for somebody else's business. And I'm just grateful for the process, because I could have been stuck there. That was my goal. It's like, I graduate college, I eventually get into something to where I'm making 6 figures a year. Like, that's the best thing that never happened to me. It's like, that I struggled and I grinded to get to the point that we're at now. But also seeing it as like, dude, it takes time to get good, and they don't see the time that you put in before you got into insurance. So that's huge. Just like being able to understand that and teach that as leaders is if you see people come in and they're getting results quick, it's like, what do they know that you don't know? What have they been through that you haven't been through? What do you have to go through to get to that point? And just being able to understand that. How old are you?
23,
23. How old are you, Mike?
31.
31. Let's go. I feel you get good mentorship because Mike's been through a ton of that. He's been through that in a ton of different, I feel, ventures. Like you did that with solar. You did that going through school. You had to redevelop your character to be able to attract guys like this into your business. And it's like you're coming into the business not having to go through what Mike went through, but you're still going to have to go through stuff. And it's going to get more effective, more efficient. But I feel the way that you communicate the business allows people to understand it of like, hey, this is difficult. It is hard, but it's worth it. And you're also building for yourself and you're building a business with some of your best friends, which is the coolest thing that I've ever seen is I wish my buddies could stick this out with me and get through it. Like, do you know that we play college football together? Like we get to do this business together. And there's no better feeling that you come in, you start to see results, you start to get results and your hard work, you're enjoying the fruits of your labor, but then you're able to bring somebody else in and they come in, they start getting results. I mean, hell, you just had a guy on the team call who we're not even, 15 days into the month, he's written $42,000 in business. Like that's insane. The leaderboard used to be you write 20 grand a month and you have a good month. These guys are coming in, they're crushing it. And they're going to be able to build a massive business and attract a lot of good people into the business. So what is like, I just want to hear from the both of you. Like what was your mindset when you were going through the learning curve? Because for me, I understand like everybody that ends up having success in sales or they end up building a profitable business, like it didn't just start there and it was good and it was glorious and every day was awesome. They went through a lot of stuff like challenges and obstacles to be able to get good. And everybody has a similar story. Like, hey, I started broke. Like I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. But then I got in this business, I saw the vehicle, I understood it, I understood what was required for me to get good, to be able to make sales and close deals. So what was kind of your thought process when it did get difficult for you, Mike? Like when you came in, you knew there was a learning curve, or maybe we relate it to solar. I'm sure that was difficult. You've always made good money in sales, which is awesome. Like for me, that wasn't the case for me. I feel like my first year is what you've always made in sales a month, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, I think even just hearing like Diego talk, it kind of brought me back even like before sales. Like sometimes I forget I'm 31 and I've actually been through more shit than I think I have. And it's like, I think when I came into this industry, because I've been through it multiple times and I put my own self through it and I was able to take accountability at that point and understand like, I'm not going to have to do this ever again. That was the mindset. It was like, I have no other option but to go all in right now and do what I need to do in order to get to where I need to be. I always loved leading. I always loved building. I always loved mentoring people. And I wasn't going to be in another situation where I got that stripped from me and had to rebuild it again. So I think just knowing that in my mind was the mindset. Like I don't have a plan B. There's not just one or two people that are killing it in this industry. There's a lot of freaking people killing it in the life insurance industry. So why the hell not me?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't I be able to do this? And then it was just, once you make that decision, that's where a lot of people are stuck. I feel like is they're stuck between the decision of I'm just going to do it, or is it like maybe it'll work out.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you just decide I'm going to do it and there's no other option and you just go all the way in and you're not like 1 foot halfway in the door, like that's when everything really changes. So I think as soon as like it clicked in my mind that as soon as like I am all in and I saw the results of being all in, that's when everything just kind of,
The commitment.
yeah.
Doesn't matter how difficult it is, I'm going to get through this.
100%.
And I feel just having that mindset helps a ton. Is there's a lot of people that they underestimate how capable they are of this business. And for me, it's simple, but that's after 4 years of grinding in the business. For you, it's starting to become simplified for you because you've been grinding 13 hours a day for the last 4 months. You're putting in more hours than majority of people put in their first 6 months or year in business. And then they wonder why you're where you're at and they're where they're at. So it's being able to relate that. What are some things, or what was kind of your mindset when you were going through the learning curve? Like how do you stay anchored and committed to what you're trying to accomplish? Because I feel a lot of people, they'll, like when it gets tough, they're like, well, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Like, I don't know if I could show up anymore. Why am I not getting paid? Why am I not doing this? And we talk about it a lot. I mean, even Jeff mentioned it on the call today. It's like, there's no good days or bad days. There's days, and there's days of progress. And I feel like that's what a lot of your guys are focused on and focused on teaching people. So how did you stay anchored through the learning curve or being broke?
Yeah, so us coming over is a little bit different than what I feel most people talk about, which is coming into the business with no money to their name. And that's where, one, we need to learn that portion because not everybody that we bring in is going to have money. And most of us had a decent chunk, but we were leaving a lot. That was the tough part, is leaving. Some of the guys were leaving 30 grand a month. Some of the guys were leaving 15, 20 grand a month. So it's like, we were like, okay, if we're going to leave, one, we know that this is for us because even if it doesn't pay us the same amount and replace our income, we know what the end goal is like. So we don't care about like, okay, I need to make my same amount the first month, because that's the thought process of a salesperson, not a business owner. One point I want to hit on is, I remember this, and I'm not sure he's listening. Maybe he'll listen to this, but my general manager at the time, we were doing what's called a lot walk. You walk around the lot of the dealership, and it was about me leaving. And he asked me this question, just about verbatim. He said, "What's your plan?" I was like, "Okay, well," and I hadn't heard you guys talk about a 90-day plan ever. I just thought to myself, like, okay, I think 6 months is kind of a long time, but like 90 days is like doable. Where it's like, if I try something for 90 days straight, like, it wasn't 60, it was 90. That was just me in my head. I was like, okay, and if it doesn't work after that, and I actually go all in, then maybe at that point, like, I'd feel much better about going somewhere else and leaving it, because I'm not quitting. It's, hey, I did everything I possibly could. Maybe this isn't the right vehicle for me. And it's very hard to differentiate that because people will blame it. Oh, it's not on the right vehicle. But did you actually do 90 days of true hardcore effort on being as successful as possible? If that's not a yes, then you can't correlate that to, okay, it's not for me. He asked me the question. He said, okay, that's a good plan. What are you going to do if it doesn't work? Like, what's your plan B? And I mean, that question alone, like, you don't even have to answer that question. It's like for you to ask that question, what's going through his mind? He's expecting me to say, oh, well, I'll just come back here. That's
Right.
what he's trying to pull that out of me. And I said, well,
It's like a manipulative tactic.
my answer to that was, well, when I came here, what did I do in my first 90 days? You almost fired me. And then right after the 90 days, what happened? It blew up. And I asked him, I said, do you think I had a plan B coming in here? He said, no. I said, okay, I don't have a plan B. So coming in, it's like, when you're leaving that, it's like, okay, we don't care. This was most of our mindset. And I say most, and I'll hit on that in a second. Most of our mindset was, okay, I don't care if I don't get paid for 90 days. I'm not worried about the dollars in the account. It's, we need to figure out the system, figure out the business, and that's what we need to invest into to get it figured out as soon as possible. Because if we're leaving this, we're going to figure out how to make this work. So that's why when we came in, first 2 weeks was like, okay, what do we need to do? And this hits on why I feel we're going to grow faster than you did, Mike, and you did, Bone, because it's like, if you built an IKEA chair and you're the first person building the chair, it's going to take you forever to build the chair.
Right.
But if someone built the chair and they're like, hey, I drew out this blueprint on how to build a chair, here you go. Well, you're going to build it a heck of a lot quicker. So it's not because someone's better than the other person. It's because, well, someone wrote the blueprint. They had to go through hell to get that blueprint written out. But it's like, if we don't take advantage of the blueprint, we don't grow faster, then that's completely on us. So coming in, we didn't associate the dollar amount in the bank account with our success. It was, we knew that we needed to put at least 90 days in until we could trade that skill set for money, which we hit on. Trading time, effort, energy, and money for a skill set, and then trading that skill set for money. Luckily, when we came in, a lot of guys started ripping right away just because it transferred, which was cool. But all the money we got in, that's why we had no problem putting it right back in the business, because it wasn't our money yet. We planned like, okay, I don't expect to take any money out. And I can confidently say, me and my business partner, we haven't really taken any money out for ourselves. I mean, we bought stuff here and there with it, like food and like lock-ins and whatnot, but like nothing, like no bills or anything like that. We've been living off of our like personal savings and investments because we want as big of a bankroll to fund our business and everyone else's business to keep the business afloat. So coming in, it was, okay, well, we're not going to expect to make any money. And that's not the same for everybody. Some people need to make money. So your mindset might be a little bit different. It might be even more hardcore. Like, I need to do this to live right now. But ours was like, hey, we don't care about that. We just want to learn how to do it the best way possible. I told Mike all the time, like, hey, I don't really care if this carrier pays me out right now or not. I'm just happy that like we learned how to get to the end of the sale. So what can I take from this to get to do it better next time? Or like, hey, I don't care what my comp level is on X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't care about that. I just want to learn how to do it well, and proceed from there. So our mindset coming in was like, okay, what do we need to do on a daily basis? What do we actually have to learn to do well? What do the top people do? And pretty much copy exactly what they did. And that's it. Like, we don't care what we have to do. What do we have to learn? What do we have to do? Not like, oh, well, I'm just going to try it like this and I'm going to try it like this. It's like, no, like we can try it like that later when we want to test stuff out, but not when you're trying to learn how to be successful. Just copy what everybody else is doing and do it, but do it intentionally. Not 3 days a week for 4 hours a day. And then after a month goes by, say that you worked for a month, but you actually only worked for 12 days. And those 12 days were 4-hour days. So it was really like 6 days. It's like, how, like 90 days is 98 to 12-hour days. So if you're only working 3 to 4 days a week, 8 to 12 hours, well, your 90 days is going to take you more like 4 to 5 months. So that was our main mindset coming in.
90 days actually worked. Not, okay, well, it's been 90 days of me being in the business. Well, I didn't work Friday, Saturday, Sunday every single week in those 90 days. So you're really at 40 or 50 days. They don't commit. And I feel too in the very beginning, like every day off, I translate to football. So every day that I wasn't practicing, if I had too many days off, I didn't feel as confident as I normally feel on the football field. So it's the same thing in sales. It's like, especially in the very beginning when you're building a foundation to allow you to have success, is if you have too many days off, you're too far away from everything that you learned and nothing's cemented because you didn't do it enough to where you have to relearn it. So there's a lot of people like within their 90 days, they're relearning and relearning and relearning versus learning, cementing it. You're adding a pillar to your skill set, and every single day you're adding a little bit more to your skill set. And then eventually you get to where, okay, I put in 90 days. Now I'm super confident with this. I can focus on this. And I feel people, they don't give themselves enough time to isolate each area and where they need to get good, whether it's the intro, whether it's the financial inventory, asking qualified questions to be able to figure out what it's going to be like for the client that you're sitting with. If they were to pass away with no insurance, then it's to the close, then it's all the objections. And I think of it as like training a brand new agent. If they come in and they read the objections a couple times, and then it's 2 weeks later, they never looked at it, they never really learned it. So it's understanding it does take time to be able to learn it, but it does take effort and energy to be able to learn it. And it's these days compounded that you see people have these quantum leaps. Like Jeff will talk about it, 2 + 2 = 16. People don't even know what that means. It's like you're having a quantum leap in your business, and it's because you have so many days compounded that stuff starts falling into place for you. So I want to dive into this sales side a little bit. Like obviously both of you guys are crushing sales, which is incredible. Like Mike is consistently over 50, 60 grand a month leading you guys. And I think that's what leadership is somebody willing to get in the trenches with you and show you, hey, I'm not afraid to get hung up on. I'm not too good to get on the phones and protect clients. Like I'll get on, I'll show you if they have these medications, this is the route that we're going to go. And I feel that's the best way to teach. There's a lot of people that want to build a massive business, but then they don't want to get on the phones. You've been consistently selling, so you guys want to come in, they see this is the standard. Like if we're going to lead a team, we're going to sell. And the craziest thing is any sales opportunity, if you have a leader that's not willing to get on the phones or not willing to dial the phone and close deals, like, dude, why don't you go learn from somebody that is willing to do that? Because you're going to learn a hell of a lot quicker. And you're going to get so many word tracks that you're like, okay, I'm saying all this, but I missed these key word tracks, but I was on with my leader who's selling, who said this, I'm going to implement this in here. And that may be the difference of you closing 1 deal a week to 5 to 10 deals a week. So, I mean, you're selling over 40 grand a month, which is awesome, over 50, 60 every month. So like we can segue into like some sales training, but what is your understanding of like leadership when it comes to a sales opportunity?
One, like I just know how important leading from the front is because I've been in other sales industries and I've seen people kick their feet up, collect overrides on other people, boss people around. Like I'm just not somebody that's going to tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't do myself. So one, it's just principle and character that plays into it. First things first. Two, um, what better way is there to teach somebody than to show them how to do it? If somebody sees me do something enough, well, then they're going to pick up on what I'm doing that's bringing me success, and they're going to easily be able to translate that into their business. And that's just the most logical reasoning behind it, too. Yeah, I think people don't understand the hell that we had to go through when we were bringing people into the business just a few months ago because we didn't make any money on anybody. We weren't making overrides. We weren't doing anything. It's something that I had to do too in order to pay my bills. We took a massive sacrifice to be able to be in the position we are in today. So it was like three different things that really drove me. More importantly, I think that it's just your responsibility as a leader to show up every single day and do the things that you're requiring other people to do. So there's a standard and a foundation to your business. Otherwise, it's just the Wild West and anything goes, and the quality of business is just going to deteriorate over time.
I agree. And I feel too is once you develop a undeniable skill set to be able to close deals, it doesn't matter how deep a hole, it doesn't matter what situation you're in, it can be solved by you closing deals. There's people that if like in the industry, if they lost their team, they don't even know how to sell. They would just forget that they have the skill set to be able to go make 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month. They'd be like, "What? I can't do it anymore. I don't have a team." It's like, dude, the most crucial thing that you learn in this business is you have a skill set that allows you to print money on command as long as you're good enough and consistent enough and disciplined enough to be able to do it day in and day out. So I feel that's something that we're focused on, and we want people to be able to come in and write business and be profitable, but they forget the biggest override's on your own pen. Like the biggest override that you have in this business is you writing business. And people come in, they forget about that. They're like, no, my biggest override is me sitting on my ass and recruiting 1,000 random people and praying and hoping that they come and have success. It's like you guys can do, I mean, hell, you take all three of us, we can do more than 100-man team.
That's the excuse that people use when they want to be lazy is like, well, you don't understand what it's like to run this agency. I have so many other things I have to do. It's like, dude, there's not a good enough excuse for you to be able to dial the phone a couple of times and close a client in front of your people. It just there's no excuse that's valid enough. And it's as simple as that. It's oh, I've made it to this point. I need to focus on recruiting, training, and developing. Well, one, like showing people that you could close is a great way to recruit. Two, showing people that you could close and how you close is a great way to train. So none of that is really relevant. It's just an excuse for you to kind of kick your feet up and do whatever you like.
It's the only way.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's truly how I feel about it. And I'm pretty passionate about that feeling as well.
I mean, it's sick too, is it allows you to be extremely sharp for when people join your business. It allows your belief to be next level because if somebody's like, hey, these leads aren't working, you're like, what do you mean? I just closed these leads. And one thing that we used to do in the chat is anytime somebody were like, hey, these leads suck, I was like, send them to me. And then you'd close the deal, you'd drop in the chat and you'd be like, these leads suck. Like we used to post that in our chat and it was something that I love to just show people. It's like, no, they don't suck. You do, and we just got to get better. Like that's all it is. And it's not taking things personal, but it's seeking like transparent and real ass feedback to allow you to get better. So what's like your thought process behind selling in leadership?
That's a good question. I believe leadership will never fully be mastered. You're always working on it. that's a huge thing I'm working on right now. I thought I was a leader in another industry I was in until you go into being your own business owner. So I used to be a runner in cross country, and I feel like it's very similar to that because it is a team sport. But when you're running and you're racing, like what you did to prep for that moment, that's completely on you. If you miss a practice, if you weren't running as much as you should, you're not as prepared. Like when I'm racing, I can't hold your arm and pull you while I'm racing. It's like an individual thing, but you grow together and do your own individual work together. And I feel like this is the same way. Like just coming in, there's creating a gap between the guys I came in with. And there's some false confidence within people. You trade your hustle for money, which is what you hit on a lot, Bowen. But if you are always only hustling, which also has false confidence, which is like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to be confident with what I do. After that 90 days, if you just run with that, then you weren't actually doing the things to get yourself to where you have an actual skill set. And that's where some guys are missing the ball a little bit, and they're learning now, and they're tying money in their bank account to their success. So if they're like, well, okay, I did get paid out, but I only got paid out this much instead of this much, so I don't know if this is for me. I'm like, why are you tying a specific dollar amount in your bank account to if you're succeeding or not? So I'm learning leadership. One is I came in with a group of absolute killers. Like I have to work my butt off to not get outworked. And honestly, I usually am outworked just because a couple of the guys I come in with, they're absolute like top 1% guys. Like they're hard to outwork. So it's like coming in with that helped me a lot because now that we're outworking the people who outwork everybody else, and that's what we're trying to achieve. It's going to allow anybody that comes in just to have the best example. And something that you hit on all the time and Mike hits on and Jeff hits on, which is like always just leading from the front and doing it. And I honestly have to always continue to work on that. And my consistency with that. So leadership is something that's always learned. And what I'm truly working on is not just the selling aspect, but it's more so psychologically, how can you help build this person without telling them point blank the facts? And how do you help them through it themselves? And how do you talk through it? Because you can be $100,000 a month producer, which is awesome. But if you don't know how to actually lead somebody and help them get up towards that point, leadership is the highest paid, and scalability is the highest paid skill set. It's not producing. You can learn how to produce 20, 30 grand a month, you know how to sell a policy. But if you know how to recruit, lead, train and scale, that is the highest paid skill set. It's not sales. I believe everyone hits on sales is the highest paid profession. Sales is the highest paid profession. No, you learn the sales, so then you can learn scaling, recruiting, and developing, and that's how you scale. If I wrote I can maybe write $100,000 in a month if I got all the leads and really tried. But what about scaling a team to doing $1 million a month and then $2 million a month? You can't write $2 million in a month realistically.
You gotta be versatile.
Yes.
To grow a dang business.
So my understanding of it too is like I'm passionate about building and scaling and helping people build and scale. And understanding leadership is the moment that you can't add value to your people or your team, you become disposable to them. So it's like we're always working in our organization to be better leaders, to always add value to people. And the moment that you don't, they're going to go find somebody else that will. And I feel like we're seeing a lot of that happen inside the industry is there's good people, they're selling, they're making money, but they don't have leadership. They're like, hey, I'm making money, but these people aren't going to take me to the next level. And I had a conversation with somebody the other day. They're like, dude, I'm making money, I have a good team, but nobody knows what the hell's going on. And I feel it's a lot of people that don't understand that in leadership, it's not a day on, day off. It's every single day. The moment that you recruit somebody in the business, it's not about you anymore. It's how do I help them? How do I add vision, perspective to their thought process and their mind? How do I keep them to where they understand if they do all these things right, they're going to be on track to hit their goals. And it's huge. But I also look at it as if you want to make $1 million a year in insurance, let's say you have to sell 1,000 policies. Realistically, is anybody selling? There's a slight few in the industry that are selling 1,000 policies a year. So if you're like, okay, I'm on 100% comp, I got to sell 1,000 policies to be able to make $1 million. Well, we know we can't do that. So let's do 2,000 policies. I would have to have 50% comp. And then you could break it down to spread. Well, let's say realistically 10% spread, I need to sell 10,000 policies in a year to be able to make $1 million, well, who are the people that you're going to attract into your business to help you sell 10,000 policies a year? You're not going to let anybody and everybody come into your business. You're going to select and find the right few that are going to come in and add value. And I feel just from like the quality of conversations that you have with the people that come into your business is, dude, we're going to add a ton of value, but we also expect you to add value. And they're like, what do you mean by that? Dude, effort, energy, work ethic, like positivity. If you're negative, dude, cut yourself, like get rid of it. And for me, it's like negativity has no room in business. Like it doesn't. And once you venture into business and you're set on this path and this goal to build this insanely massive organization that's going to leave behind a legacy and change a lot of people's lives, like, dude, there is no room for negativity. It's all like there's so much to be grateful for and so much to be excited for. And just like given the position that you guys are in, like there's no better position. When we pioneer this company to $1 billion a year in sales, people are going to be like, holy shit. And the thing is, I don't need other people to believe in me. I believe in myself enough. Same thing for you guys. It's like, if somebody doesn't believe in you, it doesn't even matter. Like, why would I even, I'm just going to store that in the closet in my mind of like, oh my God, these guys don't fucking believe in me. I don't give a shit about that. Like, the business is simple. We have tremendous leadership inside the business, but it takes also like some grit too. And it takes people not getting easily offended. Like Mike is probably one dude that I coached the absolute hardest, which
I'm grateful for it.
but
Yeah.
it was also, I was learning leadership too. And I think of it now and it was like, damn, I was kind of a dick, but also it helped him understand. And then when he had people that came in that experienced the same stuff that he did, he's like, okay, I see it now. And it's, once you get in leadership, like in sales, you're learning sales, but once you start teaching sales, you're going to understand a different level to it. And you probably already have. But dude, I'm grateful to be in business with you guys. If there's anything that you want to share that helped you get really good at sales and really good at client, and I hate calling it even sales and insurance because like you're jumping on the phone, you're asking these clients a bunch of questions, they're telling you what they need. So what are some things that helped you guys to be able to close over $40,000 a month?
Think just really looking internally and understanding how people actually operate and like what somebody else would be, or what I'm thinking, like the way that I think is the way that other people would probably think. So when you look internally for those answers, you'll understand more of the psychology side of those sales. So just sales in general, um, asking the right questions, finding out what people's actual problems are so we can provide a real solution to them and not just show them these random numbers that might fulfill whatever it is they're trying to accomplish. Like we get nitty gritty when it comes down to analyzing what these clients need and putting them in the right situation so their families are genuinely protected when something happens. So I think because we're so critical on that, it makes us very easy to sell and be able to ask the right questions so that we can tee it up for them to be in a good position. And that's the number one thing that I can recommend to anybody is genuinely give a shit about what you're doing and the other person on the other side of the phone.
Sure. And I feel like that's where people have this perception of sales is, oh my gosh, they're calling around, they're selling people stuff that they don't need. And that's the difference in life insurance. It's like people are being born and dying every single day. And people don't die and say, hey, you gave us way too much insurance. They're like, hey, I'm so glad I got this put in place. So for me, it's like, I know there's a lot of people out there, they're like, oh, I'm not good at sales. But we're not selling people that don't need what we have to offer. If you think about the product and the tools that we have to offer to somebody's situation, we're just helping them discover what their life looks like if they had nothing in place. And then they're like, well, that would be really difficult for my family, or that would be really difficult for my wife, or whatever it may be. And they don't want that to be the case. So they utilize you to be able to solve their problem by getting them a product. You're getting compensated. They're getting their problem solved, which is huge. So what are some things that you obviously understand on the sales side that, I mean, you've helped a lot of guys too this early on? Like, I don't think there's anybody that's developed from ground up to where they're at now more 30 grand a month producers in a 4-month span than you guys have, which is sick. So what are some things that you realize like on the sales side?
Well, one thing is I don't want to take credit for them building themselves up. They just the the platform at Founders is a platform. Whether I'm here or not, regardless of who's there or not, my group came in together. Everyone who's at where they're at individually did the work. So it's not like I sat with every single one of them all day, every day, and I built them up myself. They built themselves up. One thing is we all did it together and we created the culture. And I just don't want to take credit for someone else's hard work. And I'm also not going to take credit for someone failing out because we all have the same foundation. Your foundation is there, your foundation is there, whether I'm here or not. So if someone fails out, that's their failure. And if they succeed, that's their success. No one else gave that to them because the foundation was there regardless if they were there or not. I wish I remember his name, but I was watching a video as a sales guy and basically described salespeople like this: is if someone is about to cross a bridge, if they're ready to cross, they'll just run across. People that are just like, hey, how do I buy this? Boom, purchase. People that need help and need walking across the bridge, that's what salespeople, we walk people across the bridge. So it's like you help give them the confidence through objection handling and through explanations and questions. You help walk them across the bridge. We're not convincing anybody to do anything. We're not going up to someone's random door and we're trying to convince them to do X, Y, and Z and pull a problem out of nowhere. We're helping guide them across the bridge. And my biggest thing for how I explained the sales process for insurance through to a new guy just last night, actually, I realized like, how can I simply explain this? And I was like, well, I really only talk during an explanation about 3 times during the sale, unless it's rapport, building rapport. My main talk is who I am and what I do. What is mortgage protection? And leading into the presentation, what I'm about to present them. Everything else is a laundry list of questions. If you look at any of the scripts, it is a laundry list of questions that you can add into there or take out. It's just a laundry list. I want them talking as much as possible. So like me, I can either explain to them something or I can turn that explanation into a good question to where they come up with it on their own. So that's the biggest thing is I heard some of our new guys explaining something and I told him after, I was like, hey, you explained that very well. How can we ask that into a question so he comes to that conclusion without you telling him that that's a conclusion? And I mean, that's the biggest thing is there's a book called Questions Are the Answers. I'm only about 30, 40 pages into it, but that's what it hits on is, hey, it's not always looking for the answer. It's how do we figure out like what the best question is? Because the answer is there. Wherever it is, the answer is there. We just have to figure out what's the question we should be asking. There's a huge podcast guy, I can't remember his name right now, but Navy SEAL guy, similar to like Andy Frisella in that realm of stuff. And with his Navy SEAL
You can't
guys,
compare Navy SEAL guy to Andy Frisella, or oh, I thought you said Andy Elliott. I'm like, all right, we'll let Frisella slide.
no, in the realm of podcasting, like business owning, yeah, Jocko. He with Navy SEAL training, instead of him before they were about to go back to camp, essentially instead of him saying, "Hey, we're not ready for this. We need to keep going, keep going, keep going," he simply like unattached asked a question. Hey, do you feel that we're ready for the absolute worst case scenario and we're ready to go right then and there? His guys were like, no. Okay, so what do you think we need to do? We need to keep going after it. Okay, and let's keep going after it. And then they willingly wanted to. They didn't feel forced to. So
I feel like a lot of people just want to grab the brush, paint this beautiful picture where it's like, it's as simple as just handing it to the client.
Yeah.
And let them painting their own.
And practicing asking the right questions, and like the higher in leadership you are, the better questions you really, and then you simplify your questions. And it's always like you do a great job with it, Bowen, and you do too as well, Mike. It's like instead of hammering someone like you need to do this and you need to do this, well, first like, okay, here's the problem. What would you do? You would do this. Okay, why would you do that? Okay, well, you could also do it this way. How do you feel about this way? And having like conversation with the questions, and then the person's more of a light bulb moment. And what Jeff hits on is inspiration versus feeling forced to do something. So it's like if you can inspire someone to do it on their own, that belief is what keeps the consistency going. Consistency will crush and will crumble if something gets out of line, if the belief and the vision isn't there. So that's why when we came in, like I didn't care about small failures, quote unquote. It's more lessons going through, because hey, these are such small humps. When you're talking about having a $1 to $10 million a month team, Like me getting $1,000 chargeback or me not closing this client, like that means nothing, because like the vision and the belief is so big that even if I don't have the best month, or even if my deposits aren't there that month, like, hey, I'm thinking about like my team here, and we're just going through the stuff that it takes to get there. So all of that is irrelevant. But if we're always living in the current present with no vision and no belief, then yeah, if you saw $2,000 in your bank account and you were wanting $10,000 in your bank account and you're like, oh shoot, what's going on? That's going to create stress and anxiety and add pressure to be like, is this for me? Is it not? Create doubt and go on from there. So it's like, you need to have that belief and that vision going into it. That way all of your failures are actually just lessons getting you like to the next point.
100%. If you can't solve $10 problems, like what are you going to do when it's hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars? Like then it's like you got to be a little more strategic. You got to be not as attached to it when you got to be able to solve those problems. But dude, that's solid information. My goal always is, and I'll tell clients I had the last couple of days, is the purpose of my call is to give you an extremely hard time and get you to laugh. And they just laugh. They're like, what do you mean the purpose of your call is to give me a hard time? And I just like to have fun with it. And I feel like you guys have fun with it. And that's the purpose of it. If you're going to go through it anyways, have a good attitude and have fun with it. Like I asked a lady the other day, she was a hard ass. I was like, okay, and are you a smoker or non-smoker? Non-smoker, never smoked. Okay, and then when you're at the casino, are you a smoker or non-smoker? And she just died laughing. I was like, everybody claims to not be a smoker, and then you see him in the casino smoking a cigarette. I was like, it is what it is. But dude, I'm excited to watch you guys grow. I'm excited to watch you guys take over and help a lot of people. For me, a legacy, it's not attached to money, it's attached to the way that you change the way that people think. And legacy for me is like you get to play just a small role in a lot of people having success, which there's no better feeling. It's like you come in here, maybe you were nervous or anxious, and you come in, you're starting to have success. You're gonna have people that continue to come into this business and feel the same way. And you're gonna have people that come in and fall out. You have people that come in and figure it out. Dude, the year I got in business, there was a lot of people that fell out. And they're probably like, damn, what if I just stuck it out? And I never want to live with that. The pain and regret is the worst feeling. It's like, damn, what if I did stick it out a little longer? What if I did just kind of hunker down and figure this out? What if I put more effort and energy into it? And for me, I don't want to miss an opportunity that way. And I feel that's what allowed you guys to win is you don't have the what if it doesn't work out, it's the what if it does work out. So you said your manager asked you, what if it doesn't work out? I'm like, well, motherfucker, what if it does work out? Like, then what? Then you're going to come over here and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'll help you out, which is sick. But I appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody that's listening. We're going to start doing like little giveaways. I say when we get this post on YouTube, whoever comments Michael Mulea, we'll enter him in a raffle. And what do you think, Mike? We just give him $500, random person?
Yeah, 500. I guess that's pretty good.
That's solid. Well, we appreciate you guys. I appreciate the both of you. Excited to watch what you guys accomplish and what you create. And if you're listening to this and you feel you lack leadership, dude, jump on the phone with one of these guys. That's what I'm big on. There's a lot of people that are like, well, don't talk to anybody else in sales. Like, why are you going to be closed-minded, but you want to make millions of dollars a year? How do you think I learned? I got on the phone with everybody. I was at different companies talking to a bunch of people in different companies when I first started. And I was trying to learn. Like for me on recruiting calls, my goal is just to learn. If they end up doing business with me, awesome. It's a bonus. I'll help them out. But my goal is, what are you doing to be able to get new agents paid quick? What are you doing to be able to grow your business? What is your vision? Like, how's your mentorship? How's your leadership? And dude, I was a brand new agent. I saw how brand new agents talked about the leadership, and I never want to be in that position. I never want to be too good at getting in the trenches with people. But appreciate you. Want to share?
Well, I just want to say why I didn't get a chance to hit on this. Why insurance, I believe, is the best opportunity for the right person. It's not for everybody because not everybody's meant to be a business owner. Not everybody's meant to take on that stress and lead and scale and guide. Some people are just meant for comfortable stuff. So why I truly believe insurance is the best industry for people that are looking to own their own business is me and all my guys, we've always wanted to own our own business. Like that's what everybody says. I want to own my own business. I want to own my own business. Well, insurance, it's starting your own business. You didn't have to figure out the product. You didn't have to figure out the manufacturing, the service, fulfillment, the back end of it. You didn't have to figure any of that out. You're just this middle guy. You have the client, someone that needs it. And then your business is just being the middleman between the two. So we came in And my mindset was, well, shoot, if I fail and quit out of this, how can I ever expect to own my own business? Because right now we're at the point of providing the client the service and the product and the value. But when you start your own business from scratch, where you're gonna have to build the product, the value, and the service before you can service it. So if I can't even do the servicing part and I already have a trusted product, how am I supposed to do the front end, the middle, and the back end? The carrier fulfills the back end. I don't fulfill the back end. I'm just a middle person. So I'm only doing really 1/3 of what a business from scratch really looks like. So if I can't do 1/3 of it and I can't come in to figure it out and I quit out of the business, well, heck, I'm probably never gonna be a business owner. It's never gonna work out. So it's like, well, we need to come in, figure out how to succeed, because any other business we run in the future, it's gonna be even harder than what we did here. So it's like, this is a perfect starting point to have your own business, then using this business to in the future fund any other ventures that you want to truly get into. It's a perfect vehicle. You spend 2 to 5 years or so building as big as possible. And from there, you put in the time, effort, and energy it took to create capital to build anything else that you want to build. So that's why I feel it's the best spot. It's not a door knocking team that you only work 4 months out of the year. And think about door to door, it takes them 3 years to try to build a huge team. They go through the sales year, they learn sales, then they try selling, and then they try to recruit, and then they're like, oh shoot, here's what I did wrong. Now next year, let's try to redo it. It's like every single month we go through that cycle. You learn how to sell, you learn how to recruit, you adjust your recruiting, you adjust your skill set every single month, month in and month out. Think about how big some of these door-to-door guys would be if they spent 2 years every single month doing the same thing that they're doing now. Instead of on a yearly basis, it's on a monthly basis.
You're looking at Mike went through that cycle. I agree 100%. And I mean, it's huge. You don't have to develop anything but the skill set. And if the skill set's the only thing you have to focus on, how many hours are you putting into it? So, dude, appreciate the both of you. Excited to watch what we accomplished.
I want to say one more thing too, and it'll be quick. But the last thing I want to say is I'm glad we talked about leadership today. And leadership, it truly does. It goes all the way up the line. And one thing I'll say is I always had amazing leadership from you. You're somebody that's still in the trenches. You're the CEO of the company. And the last thing I want to say is your CEO is not still in the trenches. That's all I got to say, bro. So I'm grateful for you, bro.
Appreciate you both. Comment Michael Mulea and we'll pick a winner. $500.